When President Franklin Roosevelt needed someone to rebuild the United States Navy after Pearl Harbor, he reached for the one admiral everyone feared. But when he needed a man to actually win the war in the Pacific without breaking the sailors behind the machines, he turned to the one man who never raised his voice. Admiral Ernest King famously shaved every morning with a blowtorch, a man who believed that fear was the only way to drive a global military. But if King was the human weapon, Admiral Chester Nimitz was the master technician who knew that a weapon is useless if you melt the barrel. The question is not whether Nimitz was too nice for command. The question is why the most successful naval campaign in human history was led by a man who refused to be a son of a bitch. On Christmas morning, 1941, Nimitz arrived at a shattered Pearl Harbor. The smoke had barely cleared from the sunken battleships. His predecessor's staff stood on the pier with their bags packed, fully expecting to be fired as scapegoats for the disaster. In Washington, Ernest King would have likely sacked them all on the spot to purge the weakness. But Nimitz did something that shocked the entire fleet. He told them to unpack. "I have total confidence in you," he said. While King's command style was an exercise in controlled terror, Nimitz realized that a defeated fleet didn't need another kick in the teeth. It needed a reason to believe in itself again. Born in 1885 in the landlocked town of Fredericksburg, Texas, Nimitz's severe German-Texan upbringing mirrored King's own strict childhood. However, a single incident in 1808 marked him permanently. As a young ensign, Nimitz ran the destroyer USS Decatur aground in the Philippines. He was court-martialed and issued a letter of reprimand, a career killer in any other era. But rather than becoming a bitter disciplinarian, the experience taught him the value of mercy. He learned that a good man who makes a mistake is often more valuable than a perfect one who has never been tested. He would spend the rest of his career looking for the gold in his subordinates that King was too busy trying to polish away with abrasive rage. Where King used intimidation, Nimitz used influence. His staff meetings weren't exercises in firing squads, they were masterclasses in listening. He was the quiet professional who could sit through an hour of heated disagreement without uttering a word, only to summarize the perfect solution at the end. He used humor as a pressure valve. When Bull Halsey was paralyzed by the stress of a daring raid, Nimitz didn't bark orders. He told a joke to break the tension. He understood that a relaxed mind makes better strategic decisions than a terrified one. The true contrast lies in the treatment of Joseph Rochefort. As we know, King's Washington staff hated Rochefort's independence and eventually had him sidelined to a dry dock. King let his ego and desire for centralized power win. Nimitz, however, fought for the misfits. He protected the eccentric geniuses because he valued results over military bearing. He knew that to win a war, you don't need officers who look the part. You need the ones who can do the job. Today's Navy doesn't teach King's blowtorch philosophy. It teaches the Nimitz way. In a crisis, do you want a leader who shaves with a blowtorch, or the one who keeps the fire from consuming the house? Nimitz proved that you don't have to be a monster to win. You just have to be a leader.